You're now tuned in to SoChiology, a lifestyle brand that analyzes Chicago culture and connected topics abroad, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'm your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor from True Stories Media. Chicago is like a universe. And within that universe, you got many different galaxies. Within those galaxies, you got many different planets. I asked 4 Chicagoans, and I'm using Chicagoans with air quotes, and you will see why in this episode. I asked 4 Chicagoans where they're from, and I got 4 different answers. Check it out. All right, so I'm going to ask a general question, and I just need like a one-word answer. So whoever goes first, y'all can just blurt it out. When somebody asks you where you're from, what do you say?
Chicago.
South suburbs.
I say I'm from out south, man. I'm from out south.
Markham.
Okay, all right. So we got 4 different answers. We got Markham, out south, south burbs, and Chicago. Now, 3 of those answers could technically be considered the burbs too. So we gonna start with you, Brian. You from out south. Where exactly is out south? Where you from?
Man, where I'm from, born and raised, man, it's basically, it would be considered the Kenwood area. So I was born and I used to live on 47th Cottage. So I moved out to the suburbs when I was 9 to Country Club Hills. Mm-hmm. But I still went back, for high school. I went to school in the city. I used to live on 64th and Blackstone.
Let them know what high school you went to. Let them know.
Oh, yeah. Graduated from Mount Carmel, 2011.
Right. Donovan McNabb, stomping grounds and shit.
Yeah, Donovan McNabb, Simeon Rice. And now, it's funny, I live in Roseland now. I'm on right off 105th in Michigan. So I just say, that's why I say I'm just from out south, man. I live basically everywhere out south.
Okay. So, out south is a very large geographical region. So that covers all of that. All right. So, Brooklyn, why do you tell people you're from Chicago?
Wait, one thing. My daddy live on 118th in Michigan, so I'm familiar with Roseland. Is it Roseland or Roseland? Roseland. Okay, so I be over there every once in a while because of my daddy. Anyways, we moved around a lot. I mean, we was on the south side of Chicago. My daddy had an apartment on 62nd and Drexel. And then my mama sent me and my sister to go live with my grandma in Madison for like 2 years when I was like 6 and 7. And we came back to the south side. We lived on like 77 in Saginaw for like 2 years. And then we moved to like Park Forest, I think, for a couple of months. And then came back and we were on Northwest, like in the Wicker Park area. And then we started moving further west. And we moved further west. Last place we lived, we moved to Humble Park. And then from Humble Park, we moved west. We was on like somewhere on Harrison. And then after that, we moved to Cadytown. And in my senior year, before Thanksgiving, we moved to Aurora.
My God.
But it's like, for me, I didn't, even though we moved to Aurora like 2009, I didn't consider myself living in Aurora until December 2014, because being from Chicago, it's like, I don't know Aurora. And it's too quiet out there. It was too quiet out here at the time. So then I was always going to Chicago for school. And then I would just be there with my friends and family the whole time. And then I went to Western right afterwards.
So like, when you... Not to cut you off, but when you say you from Chicago, you literally mean that shit. Like, you from Chicago. You from Chicago. Like, you
from
man,
everywhere.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. Look, I thought I moved around a lot.
Me too.
Like and I'm gonna get to AK-67 and Corey in a minute. I thought I moved around a lot, but the places I lived around was all in like the same area for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
All across the Chicago region.
You was
I really was though, and it's kind of hard to claim a side of Chicago. Like I would tell people I was like, oh, West Side, but it's like I can't really say West Side because we started off out south. So I just claim Chicago. Yeah,
you Chicago. Yeah, you Chicagoan. Okay, so Akira, wait, you say you're from the South Burbs. Expound on that.
Basically, University Park. It's a super small town. So it's like it's next to Madison, next to Park Forest, Richmond Park, just the surrounding areas. So I pretty much been here since 1992. We moved out here.
Back when you were selling dope.
Yeah, back then. And so we've been out here since then, and I'm still out here now. So, but I'm feeling like, you know what? I think I'm ready to go now because it's. If y'all ever been out here, it's so little. It's like hardly anything out here. I mean, it's a lot of warehouses, but stores and things like that.
No.
I mean,
Hey, the only thing
quiet.
I know about University Park is y'all got that farm with the ostriches and everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a farm with ostriches.
Yeah, it used to be fun going to that farm, Regal Farm.
Yeah, there you go.
Ostrich farm?
All kind of stuff in there. It was crazy. I was like,
Sure.
So pretty much that's as far as I go. I haven't been anywhere else.
Yeah, that's your world out there.
This is it.
Okay, so we gonna double back to that. So Corey, you say you from Markham?
Yeah, the only reason why I say I'm from Markham is because that's where Grandma's house was. You know, Grandma ain't moved nowhere. Whereas growing up as a shorty, I lived everywhere on the south side. And then in Markham, then in Hazel Crest. I lived in Markham in about 4 or 5 different places. So that's why when she was telling her story, how she moved, I felt special. I was like, okay, maybe I didn't move that much.
He said he felt special, dog. You ain't went nowhere. You in the same zip code. Like,
all over the map on the south side. Throw something on the south side of Chicago, I probably didn't live there. But Grandma's house ain't never moved. So that's why I say Markham.
Yeah, and you know, I have a similar story. So I'm a fellow Markhamian, whatever you would call it. And like I said, I moved around a lot too. You know, me and my mom, we were like nomads when I was a younger kid. But similar to you, Corey, like Grandma ain't never went nowhere. I really only claim Markham because that was where my aunt lived. And that's where I stayed, you know what I'm saying, from time to time. And that's where I met basically all my childhood friends in Markham. So, you know, that's why I really claim Markham personally. But technically, it wasn't the first place I lived. And I lived a lot of different places. Like, bro, we done lived in Hammond. At one point, you know, we crossing the border in Indiana now. We done lived in Hammond. You know, we done lived in Harvey. We done lived in Robbins. You know, lived in 04's racist ass town. We done lived in Riverdale is really where I started. You know, so if we want to talk about, you know, where you from, like where you, as far as you can remember living, Riverdale technically would be the crib. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, now we got, you know, everybody's, you know, origins, you know, down pat. Remember growing up, it was kind of like that huge thing where, you know, it would be people from the burbs that would claim they was from certain places in the city simply because they had family that lived there. Like, have y'all remember that?
Yeah. That only work for folks that ain't from the city, though.
Look, I don't know about people. There's one dude I used to go to church with that I knew for a fact was from the south suburbs. And y'all probably heard of him. He was like Von Mar. He was a dude that was going around that was getting people to pretty much stand on top of people's hoods of cars and then fall flat on them and lean into people's cars. That dude is from the south suburbs. He was from the south suburbs, and you in Chicago acting a fool. And it's like, I knew your mama. Like,
You knew your mama? Oh,
we went to church together. Like, he was the nerdiest and
But he can't be from the city doing shit like that.
He was the nerdiest and funniest dude. So I'm trying to think about this guy who had like thick braces from when we was 13 to turning out to being this jackass when we turned 20 or 21. It's like, what? And you in Chicago doing all this stuff, gang or whatever. I ain't gonna say he's doing like gang stuff or whatever, but it's like you doing all this dumb stuff and creating a name for yourself. And I'm just like, that's not who you were, and that's not how you were raised. So I don't understand how people come from the burbs and then come to Chicago and act stupid. It's like, we not here acting stupid. You making us look bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like people want to reinvent themselves. Because look, I remember, you know, growing up, high school, you would have so many people claiming Stone, you know, claiming GD, but they growing up in 8-bedroom cribs in Matson. You know what I'm saying? They got, you know, 5 bathrooms. You know, the basement the size of a whole Markham house.
It'd
you know
be that opposite effect. Because people that come from the city that go to the burbs swear they the hardest thing in the world. But in reality, you get out there, get scraped up, and when you go back to their crib in the city, nobody don't know.
So Akira is from University Park. Like that's your hood, right?
Right.
That's your hood. Gang out there. So you know, you would have people out there just cause they cousin on their daddy's side, stay on 65th and Elizabeth, now they claim the 65th and Elizabeth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on, man, what you want? So now it's different levels to the burbs. So I wanna touch on this, and I'll start with you, Brian. It's different levels to the burbs. So let's take Markham, Harvey, Robbins, the usual suspects. Riverdale. Those are burbs, but they ain't really burbs, so let's be real. At what point do you really get to suburban Chicagoland?
Man, suburban Chicagoland, you really get, I think once you hit that, anything south of, man, like 99th or something like that. I mean, you going into like, if you west, I mean, you kind of get to like the, like Hickory Hills and them little, like Palos and all of that. But if you east, then it get to like Pullman, then it's like West Pullman. You get, I don't know, like around that 100. Because you can say you from the 100 to, you know what I'm saying? That's still Roseland.
I ain't never heard nobody from Palos Heights claim they Stone. Or claiming they Vice Lord, claiming they BD. And you out there living in Palos Hills and shit. Orland Hills.
A great upbringing, and you know what I'm saying, and whatnot.
Can you be from Joliet and say you from Chicago?
No, man, that's Joliet. Joliet is Joliet. That's South, bro. You is not from Chicago. If you
Hey, for real,
Joliet.
you could be from anywhere and say you from Chicago as long as you out of town. It ain't until you come
and that's what we get
to Chicago when you get checked on where you actually from.
But I think that's when that happened too, though, bro. Usually when, you know what I'm saying, you go out of town or something, it's like, man, you telling people, I'm from Chicago. You know what I mean? That's going to be the fastest way to try to describe it to somebody. Like I said, you go to like Texas or something, you run into some people and you just sound different. You don't sound like the people, like the regular everyday people. They're going to say,
like, what you doing down here, nagger?
And that's why I say everybody from Chicago until they actually talk to somebody from Chicago.
From Chicago, yeah, exactly.
That's what happened when we go to school. Think about when you go away at college, everybody from Chicago until they actually meet that dude that's from Chicago. I'm like, okay, where you from?
That's true. That's true. Because I ain't gonna lie. Like I used to always say I was from Markham, right?
Yeah.
But you right. Everybody from Chicago until you meet somebody from Chicago.
You know what's crazy though? What I found out, like being from Markham, Harvey, and some of the other places you named, that come with a different stigma, because when you really from Markham, you realize it ain't no suburb life like the other suburbs life you've actually been through. Like in Tinley Park, folks was like, yeah, you can't take your friend home because they live in Markham type situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I dealt with a lot of stuff like that. So Brooklyn. What about when we go to the west side and the north side? Like, what's considered suburban that way in your eyes?
I mean, over here, I would say it's like Aurora. Like first,
that's
hit
super
like
suburban.
You're gonna hit like Melrose Park. Well, the east side of Aurora. The east side of Aurora is like heavily Mexican populated, and so you got these gangs out here.
Yep.
That do like they keep tagging the back of my mama's house, and no matter how many times we get it painted, the cops will still roll past and be like, "Hey, somebody tagged your house again." So I'm like, how do y'all gangbang in the suburbs? But that's a whole nother story. So, I mean, you got like Melrose Park that you gonna first hit before, and then afterwards you keep going. You got Aurora, then you got Naperville.
Super.
It's super. So I mean, and
you skipped Oak Park though.
That Oak Park
is that first one you hit. It turned into a different world.
It really do.
You do. It's like you get so much bright over there.
You go west side Oak Park, different world.
The sunshine over there, Huntsville.
It do though. It's much brighter over there. People
vegetables growing, and then it smell different.
Right. The air is definitely different over there.
It's quiet. I mean, yeah, you got that too.
But you got Murder Woods though. You got you know what I'm saying,
Bellwood, Maywood. Yeah. So you have all it, but that's like I don't know. It's like the hood before you get to.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what you're
saying.
Okay, so then you would have like Bellwood, Maywood. Well, Oak Park, I wouldn't even count that. That's like really bird.
That's what I'm saying. Because like you got suburbs that's like suburbs by geography, but they might as well be part of fucking Chicago by the way it is.
Until you actually hit the west side, because all west side folks I know, if you from Maywood or Bellwood, they say you from the suburbs.
Yep.
They don't let you claim the west side at all.
They ain't letting you do that. To support Corey's claim, here's a soundbite from two passionate Westsiders on what they got to say about the suburbs out there, and even the late great Fred Hampton Sr. With love, of course. Would y'all claim the burbs out there? Do y'all claim Maywood?
Nah,
Bellwood?
no,
man. So that's not considered. That's not part of out West Illinois.
No, hell
no.
No. If you from Maywood, motherfucker, say you from Maywood.
Fred Hampton was from Maywood, wasn't he?
He ain't from Chicago. Then stop trying to get him us. We don't know where he's from.
Damn, you said stop trying to get him us.
No.
Now back to our regular scheduled program. I had a conversation with someone. They said, if you look at a map, right, and it says like the Chicago metropolitan area, and wherever you from, if it's within that map, they said you should be able to say you're from Chicago.
And lifestyle is different.
See, that's just for when you go out of town. When you on vacation, you can say that. But when you come back, nah. You either from Chicago or you.
I agree.
It really is. I like see what was that thing called? The Big Ten, where it was like what was it? Like Black Student Leadership Conference for colleges. I went 2 years in a row. Yeah. And we went out like Western, we got the, our hoodies or whatever to go. And we went and somebody was like, oh yeah, where you from? I was like, yeah, I'm from Chicago. And he was from Chicago. I'm like, oh, what part? And he was like, well, I'm from Naperville. And I'm like, that ain't
Chicago. You're not from Chicago.
Naperville is more. I think Naperville is more expensive than Chicago, to be honest. And I'm like, it's so nice over there.
Naperville got that different air.
Different out there.
Naperville got all the millionaires out there.
Yep. For real though, so he said Naperville. I was like Naperville, and then because Western rolled in so deep, they was pretty much like, "Oh yeah, that's the Chi-Town hoodie gang," and I'm like,
"What?"
Hey. It was somebody that was saying that about us though.
Hey, so
because we rolled in with our hoodies, everybody else had t-shirts. It's like, okay.
Oh, y'all was ready. So look, here's the thing: like my whole family, my grandma, you know what I'm saying, is from the low end, Bronzeville. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's where my mom from, my aunts, my uncles, all them. And my grandma stayed down there for most of my life, So I used to spend a lot of time down there, So even though I wasn't technically organic Chicagoan, I was very familiar with that part of the city early on. Now, it wasn't until I got older, you know what I'm saying, I started to, get into my college years, I would get more familiar with other parts of the city. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I used to get lost over east, bro. Like, I used to be lost as fuck over east. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about I'm on Stony Island. I'm on 79th. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. You know what I'm saying? But now it's second nature to me, because I live in the city now and I know everything like the back of my hand. But I think, a lot of people who was born and raised in the burbs or, spent most of their time in the burbs have now migrated to the city one way, shape or form. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like,
that's where everything at.
Yeah, it's where everything at. So when you look back at it, growing up, like, oh, you ain't really from the city. Like, was that shit even really worth it?
It's only worth it when you talking in that small context. So you got to take into consideration when you a shorty, you got a small world view. So being from a particular area mean a whole lot. So when you done been to some of everywhere and you got to get called a suburbanite, even though you coming back into the city, like, dude, I was just here too. It just carry a whole lot of weight to somebody that ain't never been nowhere.
Yeah,
that's true. That's
it's also like the way you were raised, the culture of it. Like I felt so disrespected when somebody tried to say I was from Aurora. When I mean to tell you, I got so heated and I was angry.
Like, I ain't from over there. I just be over there.
No, because like I went out of the country and I was a volunteer. And I was like a teaching aide. And so when I'm meeting all the other volunteers, it was somebody that was from Chicago. When I met her, I made a joke about, taking a bus somewhere because we was trying to catch from the airport. We were trying to catch one of the shuttles to the hotel we were staying at. And this girl had mentioned to me, she was like, oh yeah, so-and-so said that, you're not from the same place. And I was like, I guess because I had told her I lived in Aurora. So I got real pissed off about it because I was like, we both supposed to be from Chicago. Like, and I was angry and I was like, Brooke, like, why are you getting so angry? Chill out. So then I walked up to her and I was like, so what part of Chicago you from? And she told me, and come to find out, we worked at the same community center when we was in high school. She was just 2 years under me. So then that's when she was like, oh, so you really are from Chicago? And I was like, yeah. But I was like, okay, there's a better way to approach a conversation than getting that mad. I was
She ain't no better though, because little did she know you been all over Chicago, goddammit. Like,
right. And that's where that whole kick in. I gotta prove I'm from Chicago.
Right.
I'll show you real quick.
So why do we have to prove we from Chicago though?
Because it seemed like a diss when they say you from the suburbs, because that has always been the nature of suburban folks are soft and Chicago folks are hard. So that's I think that's what that whole notion come back to.
Yeah, I'm hard because I've never been in a fight before. But for my whole thing is just that it's the attitude of it. Like, somebody try to talk to you, the way that they talk to people out here, they try to bully people out here. Because mind you, in these suburbs, you got like a lot of white folks. You also have like a lot of Hispanics as well. And you got a few black people. No, but I'm like, first of all, it's like, watch who you talking to. You got me all the way effed up.
They try to call you soft.
But I'm like, I'm not from here. It's just like, I sleep here.
I sleep here.
Like, I sleep here. I'm not from here.
Yep.
Like, people, the way people try to come at you sometimes, and that's when that Chicago will come out of me, because people used to make fun of me and say that I talk white or you act white, and that's because I would articulate my words a lot. And it wasn't until I say 8th grade going into high school where I really learned Ebonics, or slang, whatever you want to call it. But it's like people will bring the Chicago out of me sometimes, depending on who I'm around.
Yeah, because you expect it to be soft if you're not from Chicago. And that's why they got to bring it up out of you, because now you got to show. They trying to test your gangster.
Like, you want a nigga hit now.
Gangster.
It do be like that, though. And people be thinking like, oh, yeah, you so nice. And it's like, first of all, who the fuck is you talking
to? So look.
Somebody tell me, they was like, I could feel you calming down right now. And I was like, oh, you feel the energy coming off because I'm.
So we, Chicagoans as a whole, regardless of where we from, if you're from like the Chicago area, right? If you claim in Chicago in one way, shape, or form, whether you out of town or not, we all have a sense of arrogance to us because we all believe we live in the best city in the world, because we do. So with that being said, we look down on other cities anyway when it comes to, a whole bunch of different shit. We look down on New York. Like, you go out of town and you eat their food and watch what you say. You know what I'm saying? So it's only kind of natural that we do the same thing to ourselves in a sense, because it always got to be some type of hierarchy going on, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, like Akira, you from University Park, right?
Right.
That's your hood. You was selling dope out there since '92. She really wasn't selling dope.
No.
So, have you ever experienced something like this? Like, people like, oh, you from University Park?
Yeah, because it's just like, they like, oh, you in the middle of nowhere, and talk to me like, man, like I don't even exist, kind of. It's just like, gee, calm down. But also, it's like, I always kind of looked intimidating, so people would say. Mm-hmm. So they really didn't want to come to me with that kind of crap anyway.
Yeah, they ain't
I got the height and everything. Right. It's just like,
right, you'll beat a motherfucker. I'm not Wood, South
right.
Show.
So,
let's say it don't matter.
But yeah, here and there I would get that, and it's just like, well, dang. That's how you classify it, huh? So it's just like, being in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So they would say, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
I mean, I used to live. I lived in Park Forest briefly. It was kind of like my senior year of college to like a couple years after that. It is kind of slow out there, though.
Yeah, Park Forest is more popping than University Park. It feels like
UP was like a field trip for us. I distinctly remember that. Like, going to UP was a field trip.
From March
to go where though? Yeah. To the barn?
Yeah, to Regal Farm to see them. Look, they got whole alligators at their farm out there.
Is alligators there too?
They had, I think they had like about one or two.
Gee, you ain't seen no alligators in the city.
I have never heard of it.
That's what I'm saying, in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, and I never really like talked to people that much coming up because I was kind of shy. So like to hear it, I would be like, well, I'm from out here, but that's
a hike.
That is what it is, Like my personality it's crazy. I never understood it honestly, and I still don't to this day. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of annoying to hear, honestly. Now that I'm an adult now.
Yeah, we grown as hell. Like who really thinks about that shit?
Why are we still? What's going on here?
I mean, it's kind of like playful in a sense now, but you still got some people that's taking it to a leg extreme. Leg extreme.
It's just like kind of like how people still think they're in high school kind of thing. It's just like, yo, chill.
Yeah.
I think it's like second nature.
That's when you had a small world view, though. I think that's what I look at it as. So once you actually spread your wings and you begin to move about as you get older, or you have the opportunity to move about, you realize how little being from University Park or from Markham or actually being from Chicago on the South Side matters in the world scheme of things.
Yeah. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I honestly thought Chicago took up the whole state. When I was younger, I did not realize like Chicago is only up north in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
Until I actually going to Western, and then you see the map of Illinois and like all these places, and I'm just like, oh, this is the rest of it. There's Chicago, and then there's the rest of Illinois.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's almost how it seems, but it's like Chicago's so dang big. I'm like, dang, it's other places in the state.
I mean, we anchor the state, I mean, so look at it like this. You got Chicago, Rockford, Peoria, Springfield, East St. Louis, those, and Decatur. So those 6, urban areas are probably like where you're gonna find black people at. And when I say Chicago, I'm going to include Chicagoland area. So we can throw Naperville, Aurora, all of them.
You got like Dalton too.
Yep. All of them. Like Chicagoland area, all of those surrounding suburbs, I'm including that in Chicago. So those 6 pockets is where you're going to find the most black people. Everything else in this state, Trump City.
Just about. And you speaking real facts right there. Just about. We swing the whole state in terms of votes and all that type of stuff just because it's so concentrated.
Yeah. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like it's interesting you think that because, again, it goes back to that worldview like Corey was talking about. Chicago is so big and it's like our world growing up. We don't see nothing else outside of it. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And, it's interesting.
And I would say this. Think about it. Growing up, and like I said, I claim Markham from being there and using my grandma's address to go to school. But actually being in the city, we would say real quick that the city's so small until you take yourself to somewhere where it's actually small.
Outside the city.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like go to Kankakee or something.
Or even just a whole different city in general. You go to any other downtown, you can be like, this y'all downtown?
Like, no, man, I went to downtown Detroit and was looking like, that's it.
Exactly.
Downtown St. Louis was just like, it's like Hyde Park.
The only downtown that's really rocking with us for real is like New York.
Yeah, and I mean, know that just from pictures and videos.
Yeah, but I went to Manhattan and it was kind of dope.
Yeah.
But look though, even New York downtown ain't fucking with Chicago downtown because New York downtown dirty than a motherfucker.
At nighttime, when they throw all the trash on the streets. And
that shit filthy. You ain't never gonna see that downtown Chicago ever.
Nah, you don't. They got too many garbage cans. They got too many people cleaning.
We got alleys. New York don't got alleys.
I don't think nobody downtown better than ours. Not our skyline, not our food, not our city, man. Chicago is Chicago. We
there you go.
Yeah,
Chicago, big Chicago.
It ain't nothing like it. Hey, I got a quick question though. What's the best side of Chicago?
Oh, here you go.
And if you don't say South Side,
the South Side, man.
There you go. Man, I remember WGCI used to come on all the time, and when they did the birthday song, where you from?
On my birthday,
yeah.
How old as hell?
They were like, man, first of all, don't ever disrespect me like that. This never going out of style. WGCI
Bad boys gotta say
bye
happy birthday from WGCI.
I never got on there all my years of life. I never got on that, G. Like I was trying hard as fuck every year.
So one down for more to go. Still on the show because it's your birthday. Yay,
Go. Hey, man. See,
and look, and you know, it don't matter what part of Chicago you from. Everybody know that shit. So if you know that shit, you could kind of claim Chicago depending on your circumstances and your situation.
Very true. If you know that, or you know the phone number to the party land by heart,
right?
Then you got to be from the South
shit!
Side.
Oh, so now we're talking about the Mama Luch. So I got a question for all y'all, and you can't if someone else went before you, you can't choose the same thing that they chose. So, I'm gonna start with you, Brian.
All right, what you got?
All right, raise your voice though. You got that. You got the seductive voice going on. I got that seductive voice. What you got? Okay.
What you got for me, dog?
All right, so now if you had to choose a superpower, but it can only work in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? What superpower would you pick and how would you use it?
That's tough. If I could pick a superpower and use it only in Chicago,
it's only like you can only use this power in Chicago, nowhere else. So like if you went to Miami, you can't use it.
Dang, I don't know, man. That's kind of tough. I'm trying to think. Man, to teleport, man, because we're getting around, especially around Chicago, man. You got, I mean, I'm like 15, 18 minutes from downtown, but if I could just teleport and just be there, that's the superpower I'm gonna go with. If I could just teleport and just be
wherever you want to go, just
instead
teleport.
Instead of driving, because if I can go without the traffic, like to and from, like. Especially like whether it's Lakeshore Drive or 90, 94, 57, like if I can avoid the traffic, I'll just teleport. That's the power I want, to teleport here and there. That's what I want.
So Brooklyn, if you could choose one superpower that's valid only in Chicago or the Chicagoland area, what would you pick and how would you use it?
Man, I was going to say the Flash because I'm either on the west side or south side and it take an hour to get to any side of Chicago. But since Brian said teleport,
no. I mean, teleport isn't the same as Flash, so you can pick that.
Okay, so I want to be the Flash because it's like you get to, if I didn't have to pay tolls and I could just run.
Oh my God.
To the south, run to the west side, see my sister and my nephew, my best friend, my goddaughter, and then go to the south side to see my daddy and them. I would be straight and just be like they're in a flash, snap my fingers and be there, or get, man, not to mention. Or either that or be a cartoon like The Mask and eat all I want. Because there's so many. Oh, my God. There's so much food in Chicago that you can eat.
It is. It is a lot of food.
Nah, but I could be the Flash. Like, hell, I'll go on Harold's and just cook my food and then walk out, make sure I pay them, though. And, like, be in and out. They wouldn't even know that the food missing. They probably would, but it's already.
I mean, no, they probably wouldn't know.
So,
they probably.
I mean, yeah, I'd be the Flash. That way, I can go and make my own food in places I don't want to go because I ain't trying to wait in no line. Like drive-throughs these days, ain't nobody got time for that. You seen Portillo's, bruh? Okay, let me.
Portillo's line is always long. Chick-fil-A line,
they go
long.
into the street like you blocking traffic for some cheese fries. I'll pass.
Starbucks is worse. Starbucks like that.
Yeah, Starbucks OC with it. Starbucks OC with it. It don't matter which one you go to. Like, them bitches long. All right. Corey, if you could choose any superpower that's only valid in the city of Chicago or Chicagoland area, what would you pick and how would you use it?
Hey, I would use this superpower in a whole lot of ways. But the first way I would use it is I have to ask one question to the West Siders. And my superpower would be reading minds. I want to be able to read your mind so I know the real truth. Because folks be lying. And the first thing I do is ask a West Sider, what chicken is better, Uncle Remus or Harold's? Just because I know they be lying. I know they be lying. Because everybody know Harold's is better. Because that mild sauce is where it's at.
Yep.
Period.
Hey, you know what, though? To piggyback off that, I give it to Uncle Remus. They sauce good, but, man, as far as eating chicken, like quality chicken without the sauce, bro, you can eat Harold's chicken without the sauce. You can eat
Who eats Harold's chicken without the sauce, though?
I'm just, but that's
like eating a dry Italian beef.
That's what make that's what make Uncle Remus chicken though is the sauce. It makes the chicken.
So you trying to tell me that the mild sauce from Harold's is not better than the sauce from Uncle Remus?
Oh no, it definitely is. So I'm picking Harold's, but I'm just saying that.
Okay,
when it comes to that debate, that's what it comes down to. It's like, well, man, who's so always is which one tastes better? This, and that. No, it's
And
I
that's
never
why if
had
I had
Uncle
that
Remus, but I'm gonna still
mind
talk
reading
trash about him.
capability, that mind reading capability, I catch a whole lot of West Siders lying about that sauce. Because that mild sauce is really where it's at. That's where it's hitting it. But on another note, just being able to read minds, you know, with everything that happened in the city and stuff like that, if you could read folks' mind, you could probably prevent a whole lot of BS that go down before it actually take place.
That's real. That's real.
If you enjoyed this episode, I ask for 2 things as always. Number 1, pass it on to a friend who may enjoy it as well. Number 2, leave a 5-star review. And don't forget to subscribe to our other podcast, Mogul Motivation from True Stories Media.